On our latest show to hit the airwaves, the speculation begins on how big Avengers Infinity War can be. Just how do you like your King of Kong? Just how do you like your King of Kong? And is God of War a game for the ages? And is God of War a game for the ages? All this and more as we once. This is why we don't promo the show off of our YouTube channel. Pots and pans galore. All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos. And we're back once again with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. My name is Gerald Glass from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you sticking around for another great episode this week. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. He is the man, the myth, the legend behind Humanica Media. You gotta check out all the great things going on humanicamedia.com and all of its other great outlets. It's my good friend. It's Josh Peterson. What's going on, man?
Hey man, yeah, just checking on the old podcast stuff, dreaming about God of War, ready to do some podcasting. Not maybe not all in that order. We'll see how the night goes.
We will definitely see how the night goes, but we've got a great episode for you today. It all starts off with Josh talking about his thoughts. He has played an extensive amount of God of War, and he's just going to share his thoughts on this great new game for the PlayStation 4. Plus, also as well, Rob McCallum comes back into the Cosmic Crossfire. He's going to go ahead and share his thoughts on a lot of great things going on in pop culture. And then we've got, let's see, hold on. Sorry. Oh. He's going to share his thoughts on what's going on with the latest news from Billy Mitchell and his continued attempts to try and regain his and all that stuff that's going on, but more so on the film that he's best related to, and that's The King of Kong, the great documentary from about close to 10 years ago that Seth Gordon made. He's going to talk about The King of Kong and about the proposals that have been just out there as far as possibly being rumored to be whether or not a theatrical release, a musical, or something on television. We're going to talk about that being The King of Kong and whether or not it should go on to another medium. Plus, also as well, we're going to be talking about Black Panther. And of course, we're going to be touching a lot on and we're going to be speculating later in the show on Avengers Infinity War as well. We're going to be talking about our thoughts on how much money it's going to make, who's going to die, and so much more because it hits this week. We are so excited. It's Avengers Infinity War coming to theaters starting, this Thursday night. Get the previews right there. And, as part of also as well, the movie marathon that a lot of movie theaters are doing out here in America that are going to be showing and running down the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we'll definitely have great talk indeed about that as well. But first, Josh, you have played God of War. You've played it extensively now. You've got a lot of hours in. So this is one of the biggest releases of the year for the PlayStation 4. Sony is firmly putting its really, really advertising power and might behind it. This is one of their stalwarts, their foundations as far as from a licensing standpoint, along with Uncharted, The Last of Us, and whatnot. So I want to hear your thoughts on God of War. The critical raves for it has been across the board, nines, tens, and just awesome scores all around. Right now, it's the best rated game of the year. Does it deserve that rating, or is it something that's not quite meeting up to your standards?
Let me tell you a little something about God of War. It is the Beowulf of video games. It can exist it can exist as a an ancient epic and still feels amazing. This is the first time that a video game has come out to such, great critical success or reviews or whatever, and I'm in agreement with them. I mean, I don't want to get into too spoilery for anyone who hasn't played it yet, because literally anything that I say regarding the story is going to spoil it. But
Well, I mean, a lot has already been released out to the public. It's Kratos and his son trying to bond together, him learning from Kratos as far as how to become a better warrior and how to survive out there, in the wilderness and whatnot, and also at the same time trying to create a scenario where they're trying to adhere to the last wish of not only Kratos' wife, but obviously the boy's mother as well, and Kratos' son, by the way. So.
right, so what other God of War games have failed to do in the past is kind of create an emotional depth to Kratos. You like Kratos, but you don't like him for the right reasons. You don't like him because, he has layers, or he has an emotional backstory. Yeah, his, first God of War, his wife and kid are killed or whatever, but that, they barely dwell on that at all. So basically what he's become known as, just a guy who, chops up monsters and grunts and then sleeps with girls on boats. So it's not it doesn't exactly have a lot of depth to it. And that, that was fine. Gamers were okay with that. That was just, it was an something fun to play through. But this game, it's like the third act of Coco, the entire movie. It's an emotional roller coaster, and it can be like, if they wanted it, if they wrote it out as like a chapter book and then, put it into a book of old epics, it would feel right at home. It feel right at home in there. And it's cool because this is, yeah, they changed a lot of the mechanics, but it still feels like God of War, but it also feels like something new. And it's so, like, just interesting to see him exist in Norse mythology instead of Greek mythology. And a lot of these gods that exist in the realm of Midgard, they know who he is. So, and, basically there's a few, I won't name names, but they're hunting him through the whole game. And, as soon as the game starts, it puts you, I don't know, in this weird, not weird, but like kind of beautiful forest, and it's got a lot of like emotional tension going on, because you're finding wood for the mother's funeral pyre, and you have the son he's sad about the mom, and you see Kratos like not sure how to grieve. But as the game goes on, that you see there's a very strained relationship between Kratos and his son Atreus. And the son doesn't understand. The son had a very special bond with the mother, and the son is like, he's super sad, and Kratos doesn't know how to comfort the kid, and at the same time Kratos is having a hard time mourning himself. And all through the game you see these very emotional moments where, like, the kid is leaning out over a cliff, and Kratos goes to like put his hand on the kid's back, and then he stops just short and pulls back because he doesn't know how to experience these emotions, and he's not sure how to process them. Like, he cares for the kid, and you can see it in moments when Atreus is like in danger, or he's about to get hurt, or he suffers from something called rage sickness, and that's something he inherited from Kratos. I don't know like the depth of it right now, because I think I'm probably like 8 hours into it right now. But he suffers from that. So anytime he gets mad, like Kratos, when he gets mad, he becomes really powerful. But when the kid gets mad, he gets really sick and he starts coughing up blood. So they haven't really gone into that too much yet. So I gotta get back down there and play it. But you see both of it, though. The game is like, it's full of grief. It's full of grief, and Kratos is learning how to be a dad, and the son is trying to put the piece, figure out why his dad is the way he is. And at the same time, you're thrown into this realm of monsters, and This is the first time in a God of War. Have you played many of the other God of War games?
Yes, yes, I have. And obviously, it comes to a point where Kratos is in those games, pretty much like you said, is two dimensional, very cardboard, just very straightforward. Rah rah, mad at the gods, just slash slash, kill, combo combo combo, and I'm just mad at the gods. That's pretty much it. So there's really not any depth to him in those previous installments of the God of War series. So that's why, to me, this is a breath of fresh air because you have Kratos, a character now that was a two-dimensional cardboard like character in the past, now all fleshed out with a lot of grief, a lot of emotion, a lot of mixed feelings, and also a lot of confusion on how best to take care of his son.
Yeah, and that's one of the, this game, it's beautiful. Like, it's beautiful visually, and it's incredibly well written. So it's not your typical God of War game. And let's go into, it's cool, as you go through the story, you get to interact with like all the characters from Norse mythology. You get to see like Fafnir, you get to see the elves that crafted the hammer of Thor, and you get kind of learn that like Odin is not the mystical hero that you read about in like comic books and stuff. He's kind of a jerk. It's real. It's just it's cool, and you get like you go into this place during the game where like the nine realms are in chaos because the gods are just you know always at war with each other, and Odin's trying to basically be a benevolent god and try to sneak into realms he doesn't belong in and stuff. And it's basically like how he's painted in some of the old Norse tales and stuff. So that's cool. But I want to talk about the mechanics for a second. So
And then also don't forget about the transitions that we talked about on our previous episode. I'd like to hear more about that as well.
like the single shot dynamic of the game.
Exactly, the one that we got where it's just literally almost a no cut scenario.
Yeah, there aren't any cuts, and it works. The camera kind of just follows Kratos around anytime. There are moments when like you lose control of Kratos, and he just the I guess the game takes over and has him walking into these areas, and then the camera will just kind of pan, and then there will be characters there, like the brother. There's these two Dwarven brothers who are the blacksmiths. So like they appear at different places on the map, and you find out through different little missions and stuff that they had a falling out with each other, but they upgrade your armor. They can craft new things, or you can upgrade what you have, and they're always, if you do favors for them, they'll give you new enchantments for your weapons. And you yeah, there's a lot of that. But like the only time you get out of the game camera is when you're upgrading a weapon, when you press pause, or when you're in the blacksmith menu and trying to craft new things. But other than that, yeah, I mean, there are some moments, like there are a couple of boss fights where the screen goes white, but it's not because the camera is going into a cutscene. It's because someone did some kind of attack that involved like a flash of lightning, so the screen flashes, and then that's all you see. For the most part, when the cinematics happen, it's flawless. It flows right into the cinematic, and then the camera turns back again, and then you have control of your character. So that's something I've never seen before. Has that been done? Do we know?
Not to really any extent like that. Obviously, this is the first of its kind that without, the transitions are so smooth as far as going from what you said, like I said, the cutscene scenario where there is no cuts, where it just transitions into whatever next phase of the story there is. Plus, also as well, it's not just a linear take on just a one A to Z start to end type deal. It's actually there's actually like a lot of side quests to go through that are optional but also help you out in the end as well.
Right, and it's interesting because like there was a time like the cutscene came about because um, you know, one, there was the technology for cutscenes. Remember with like old Final Fantasy games, the tech for cutscenes was a lot better than the actual gameplay. So you'd have for your when they needed to go into an intense moment, it cut to a cutscene. That's kind of what made those old RPGs feel so cool, is because you kind of got a neat little video with that. But Like now that the tech used for the cinematics is almost exactly matched up with what the gameplay could look like. So I've we talked about whether or not this game would reinvent the wheel, and I don't know if it's going to reinvent the wheel, but it's definitely going to set the bar high going forward. But I do want to get back into the mechanics for a minute. Um, so you know how Super Mario Odyssey, if you have two players, you plays the hat. I was thinking it would be really cool to have like if they had a patch come out, you could do co-op for this because in this game, Atreus is just as important of a character as Kratos is. So Atreus is, while you're swinging the axe around, Atreus is shooting arrows, and you can actually upgrade Atreus's armor and his skills to help you out on your mission. And Atreus, as the game goes on, he gets access to different types of weapons, different not weapons, but different types of arrows, and you can get him to do different things. Like you can shoot shock arrows at enemies, and what that will do is it'll stun the enemy, so you can go up and you just do your thing to him, and he'll you get a perk where he starts choking the enemy, and when the enemy's being choked, your axe does twice the amount of damage. So a lot of people are going to look at Kratos and they'll be like, I'm just going to beef him up. What's the kid going to do? But it's just as important to beef the kid up because he does, at times he does probably just as much, if not more damage than you do. So it's not, it's like, Gears of War. Okay. You have, Marcus and Dom. Dom is just in that game, like he, as an AI character, he's just as important as Marcus in some points because he saves you a lot. That's what this kid does. So it's cool because not only are you trying to protect the kid, but the kid is like not protecting, but like helping you get through these levels. And yeah, previous God of War games, they didn't really have much of a open world area, but this one it's you go into this place called the Lake of the Nine Realms, and you do side quests and you can unlock the different realms there are. So like right now I'm heading into the Frost Giant realm, and it's some of the realms are they're just side quests. You have to do certain things to open them up, and they'll give you access to like materials that you need to craft new weapons. And there's side quests. Some of them they force you to go into the realms, but other times like you don't have to. The side quests are there if you want to, if you want to beef up your character, but they don't force you to, and you can still play through the game with with minimal upgrades, but just it's a little more challenging. But they give you the option and they're not obnoxious about it. And when you do choose to do them, the side quests don't take forever. Like you have a certain role, a lot of role playing games, Assassin's Creed, Final Fantasy games like that. You go in to do these side quests, and some of them could take an hour at the longest. But this one, like you go into it 30 minutes tops, and you're good to go. But this is the first time I've played a game and I've actually wanted to wander off the beaten path. I want to see where this path goes. I want to see what's in this crate. I want to see what's over this cliffside. And it's a completely like different game, and I don't it's amazing. If you're on the fence about it, don't be on the fence. You need to get out there and play it.
So I ask you again what we talked about last week on the PCC Multiverse, and that is this the game that's going to bring people back to the PlayStation 4, back to the PlayStation 4? Is it going to be the game that's going to be giving the PlayStation 4 a nice chance at maybe extending the life of it as far as a top selling product? Now, mind you, this goes without saying that PlayStation 4 has won out in the American market so far. I think one of the months, either January or February, it still was the best selling console in North America. But for the most part, it's for the past, almost year now since the Nintendo Switch has come out. It looks like the Switch has taken over in sales because of the fact that the PlayStation 4 has seen a downslide in sales, and that was inevitable because it's already garnered over 70 million in sales already. So, is this the game that you think will provide some life and maybe even revive the PlayStation 4 so that it maybe can extend it maybe a little bit longer than what was originally anticipated?
It's a weird thing about that is that I had actually talked to a couple people who were like, "Yeah, I was gonna go out and buy a PlayStation just so I could play God of War because everyone's talking about how great it is." But they they're like, and then I was just gonna sell it right afterwards. So I don't know, dude. It's a weird thing. I think that if they have if they have expansions come out for the game that makes it worth like going back to, people will see that they're making an effort to put out more content, and that might uh help long-term investment for PlayStation 4. But it's kind of a curse also, because right now everyone's talking about whispers and rumors of next gen consoles coming out. So that's tough, because people are going to be thinking to themselves, why am I going to pay for this if something new is coming out in a couple of years, and I can just, or next year, whatever, and I can just buy that. So I hope so. We'll see. But it's you know just like the Xbox has their Halo, Fable, or whatever. It depends, man. Like, it depends on how invested they are in gaming, because also you got to remember, God of War, the campaigns usually are 12, 15, 16 hours sometimes. So it's like, what else is Sony gonna throw out there, that if they have another game come out that's as good as God of War, then yeah, people are gonna go out and buy it. But I think E3 will kind of be the deciding factor in what the future of the PlayStation going forward.
It definitely will be, and I think this game is going to see nothing but success going forward. Is obviously going to be the one. It's obviously going to be one of the 10 best video games of the year, if not a early contender or pretty much a solid favorite to get that game of the year status, which will help boost its sales even more later in the year, when hopefully more DLC comes out for it. It makes it even a stronger buy, and people who are on the fence, like you said, will go ahead and lean in and go ahead and buy into it as far as a game that they need to play. But that's great news that you're enjoying it so much. You have several hours in already, and I'm expecting several hours more. Are you going ahead and going to show some footage on your Humanica Media YouTube site? I didn't know if you were going to in this occasion.
N- I'm gonna go. I'll probably go back and play it again, but I haven't. I just got so excited to play it, I've kind of forgot to do any streaming. So maybe not right now, but
No worries, man. I'll just edit that part out. So no fair enough.
um,
But no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So I was just going to add in there just as a promo for you. Um, So that is definitely great news indeed for everyone out there, that God of War is not only a great game to play, but looks like it's going to be a great seller, and also a great, uh, it's also an awesome indicator for PlayStation and Sony that they can still bring out a game that's going to rock the world even this late in the PlayStation 4's development cycle. What are your thoughts on God of War? I know you've got some hours in playing it already. We need to hear your thoughts on it. Do you like it? Do you love it? Is it something that you were really getting into, or is it a game that didn't meet quite up to your expectations? Or are you thinking, just like my conversation with Rob McCallum a couple weeks ago in the Cosmic Crossfire? Is it something that is totally, since it's totally opposite of what was before, are you really just shying away from it? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also, as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. We are going to have a great episode again for you. Again, we've got Rob McCallum back in the Cosmic Crossfire. He's going to be talking some great things about King of Kong and what we would like to see as far as the rumors that about that rumors about King of Kong that have come about. Our thoughts on that, Billy Mitchell, and a little bit more on that. The Billy Mitchell situation, I'll elaborate on and a little bit more coming up in the Cosmic Crossfire. Also, as well, on the back end, Josh and I are going to be talking about Avengers Infinity War, our thoughts on the movie, how well it's going to do, who's going to die, and all that type scenario. Plus, also as well, Black Panther and basically the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe when it comes to Black Panther, how great the film was, and what it's done to basically bring a much sorely needed element of influx of goodness, and as far as of just basically what Black Panther will do for the MCU going forward. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. But first, it's our good friend Elijah Harrison, aka Plasma Z. This is Shadows of Chernobyl, and this is the Pop Culture Cosmos. Just to give you a heads up, Josh, I'm going to go ahead and do an intro once again for the show. So I thought there was a lot of background noise. I'm going to lead it up to, so I'll give you a hello, whatnot, and then I'll just do an intro to what the show's all about again. So
Okay, sounds good.
on our latest show to hit the airwaves, the speculation begins on how big Avengers Infinity War can be. Just how do you like your King of Kong? And is God of War a genre? And is God of War a game for the ages? All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos. And we're back once again with Pop Culture Cosmos. My name is Gerald Glasser from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly thank you for tuning back in. Well, actually, maybe you're probably downloading or just listening on the mobile device or radio of your choice. But we do thank you for checking in back with us each and every week on the Pop Culture Cosmos and also, of course, our Friday show, the PCC Multiverse. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. He is the man, the myth, the legend at Humanica Media. You gotta check out all the great stuff today at humanicamedia.com, Humanica Media on YouTube, and of course, all the great shows that they have on Podbean and of course, Apple Podcasts. It's my good friend. It's Josh Peterson. What's going, friend?
Hey, yeah, just doing some podcast stuff, thinking about God of War, just getting ready to dive into the rest of the nights. I'm excited, man. How's it going?
It's going well. I know it's going to be a busy week for us, not only with Avengers Infinity War, but also as well, I am going to be on live talking to Rob McCallum and Jay Bartlett about their upcoming project, which goes live on Kickstarter on the 24th of April. So stay tuned for that, and stay tuned also as well on our social media. We'll let you know how you can speak to them live as far as with their project and all that good stuff as it becomes available. But definitely look for it on Tuesday, April 24th, when it starts on Kickstarter. We've got a great show for you today. It's going to be a lot of stuff going on. Josh is going to be talking about his thoughts on the great game that just came out on the PlayStation 4, God of War. He's going to go into detail his thoughts so far. He's already several hours into it. He's going to share a lot about what he likes and about the adventure he's currently undertaking. Also as well, Rob McCallum is back in the Cosmic Crossfire. He's going to be talking about King of Kong, a lot of the rumors about where it can resurface and what it can resurface as. And I'm going to be sharing some thoughts on the Billy Mitchell controversy as well. Plus, we were talking on the back end, Avengers Infinity War. We're going to speculate on how much money it's going to make or who's going to die and some other stuff leading into it. And then on the back end, Black Panther's legacy and also what his future as far as a sequel and also his future within the Avengers and the MCU. We're going to be talking about that at the back end coming up. But first, Josh played God of War. And Josh, I'll tell you what, I know you've had a great time playing God of War. Okay, got it. And we're back again with the Pop Culture Cosmos. Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming back and tuning into our show. Coming back to our show. We truly appreciate it. Just got to let you know that our shows are being streamed 7 days a week on online radio stations, and that we deliver 2 brand new shows each and every week covering the latest in pop culture every Monday and Friday to Apple Podcasts or over 30 different or on over 30 different podcast networks. You just got to subscribe to any one of them on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel to get extra content, or just check out the Pop Culture Cosmos Facebook page for our entire radio schedule and a list of those podcast networks. tell you what, you subscribe, you go ahead and you just get the latest episodes coming right to you. And if you do, you get that bonus content, which is really cool. In fact, I know Josh is coming up. He's going to be talking a little bit more about some of that bonus content right now because, Josh, you got a great thing going on with Humanica Media. So, man, you got to tell me what's going on, man, with that awesome experience known as Humanica Media.
Funny you ask. No, you can check out. We did a Hope's Fall interview. Oh no, we did an interview with Hope, the drummer of Hope's Fall, a couple weeks back. So that is still up. You can check that out. I encourage you to do so. It's actually a very good interview if you're a fan of post-hardcore bands and especially Hope's Fall. There will be a new episode of Topic Apocalypse coming out tonight. A new episode of Super BS coming out on Thursday, and we also had an interview with Jonaman Nordhagen of Dim Bulb Games. He created Where the Water Tastes Like Wine. He talked a little about the process of making the game and having Sting do some voiceovers and how the game might come to Switch. So I definitely recommend checking that out. And also, you can find us on the Podcast Radio Network. What time is that at, Gerald?
Lay it all on my shoulders. All right. The Attack of the Mannequins is each week on the Podcast Radio Network, Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, where you can also hear the Pop Culture Cosmos shows Monday nights and the PCC Multiverse on Friday evenings. What was I going to say? Oh, this will be edited off. But Josh, do you have the Phase 2 Topic Apocalypse or what?
Yeah, it's going up like as soon as we're done podcasting.
Does it have any language?
I don't know. I would assume not, but I don't know, man.
All right, send it to me. Can you? I'll listen to it. No problem. Just send it to me, and I'll throw it as a bonus.
Okay.
So, because some of that bonus material will actually be the latest Topicocalypse, which is going to cover Phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So that's going to be some great talk for those as bonus material for those who download the show. Speaking of Marvel, there's this little indie film, this little artsy, type deal that's coming out later this week. It's Avengers Infinity War. It is going to be absolutely huge. Tracking on the film has now put it ahead of Black Panther and is now on track to be the largest superhero movie opening of all time. They obviously moved it up a week here in the US to get a better indicator of just how large that would be for all the press clippings and all the news media. So they could tell you it's the largest ever, blah, 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 blah. So now that's why they moved it up in the US a week and matched it with around the rest of the world, because the rest of the world is gonna show it off around this time as well. Josh, we got to start with our speculation on Avengers Infinity War with, I guess, the end all be all, and that's the dollar Rooney there as far as the money that you think is going to generate. I'm going to ask you this first. Yes or no, in the US alone, will it make over $200 million in its first weekend?
I think that with the current numbers of the pre-sale tickets, I think yes. I'm inclined to say yes because it's huge. I mean, this is everything that they've been working towards, and people are super excited about it. And if you missed certain films, you're only a fan of like a certain character, so you only go to see their movies. They're all coming together. So this is like Avengers on steroids. This is Avengers on steroids. So I want to say yes, man. But what are you thinking?
Well, first of all, it wouldn't be the first superhero movie to go over $200 million because Black Panther did just over that at 202 here in the US in its first weekend. I say for it to be a total success, and I can't believe I'm saying this because even if it does over $150 million in the first weekend at the US, it should be considered a success. But for everybody to go ahead and say it's not a bomb, it's not a disappointment, yada, 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 it does have to go over 200. So yes, I'm going to say it will go over $200 million in the US in its first weekend. I think all signs are pointing towards that. All the tracking from Fandango and other sites are pointing towards that as far as the activity is concerned. I think it will go over $200 million in the US. And I think for Disney and Marvel, it has to really generate that much income. Second question, worldwide, is it going to do over $500 million in its first weekend? So we're going to talk about 200 right there, but that includes China, UK, Australia, Japan, all over. When it is all said and done, is it going to go over $500 million in its first weekend? Because that is a trickier question.
I want to say yes just because I'm super stoked about it, but I don't think so. A lot of people still don't even know that's coming out on the 27th, and that's the weird thing. They didn't really do a great job of marketing that part, but
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I've already spoken to quite a number of individuals that do go see movies but are not huge into the superhero films but know of it and would be interested into it that don't know it's coming out actually this week.
right. And honestly, like I don't think it's gonna hit that, immediately, but it's gonna do really well because it's coming out. Like a lot of kids now, like they get out of school like mid-May, so it's gonna it's gonna hit those summer months or summer days, and it's just gonna do consistently well. I think the drop in box office revenue from this movie is going to be a lot slower than any of the other ones that we've ever seen.
Third, third question I'm going to ask you in regards to the box office numbers at for Avengers Infinity War. Is it going to do two bills now? The Marvel Cinematic Universe has never had a movie that's grossed that high. The last movie to really do it is The Force Awakens. So I'm going to ask you again: is when it's all said and done, is Marvel Avengers Infinity War gonna generate over $2 billion at the worldwide box office?
I don't want to end up eating my shoe on this one. I don't know, man. I want to say yes, but again, this is tough because it has the potential to do it, and I think that it's going to do it, but I don't know if it's going to do it. I would hope so. I really hope so because this is I'm kind of more hyped about this than I am about the return of Star Wars. So we'll see, man. What do you think?
That is a toughie. That is a tough question to answer indeed, but I asked it, so I got to go ahead and answer it as well. I would probably say no. I think it's going to get, even with the best reviews, a high 1.7, maybe even a 1.8 billion. But to go over $2 billion, that's asking a lot. That means, first of all, it has to generate $500 million more than the highest grossing Marvel movie, which is the original Avengers movie, which garnered just over $1.5 billion. Second of all, it's going to have to generate $700 million more than Black Panther, which is still in the top 10 in the US marketplace as far as generating income on a weekly basis. So you see right now, 10 weeks down the line, it's still in the top 10 and it's only made a billion three. Only made a billion three, but it's made $1.3 billion. So to even generate $700 million more than that, that's going to be saying something. I mean, it has to be a worldwide craze. It has to go global as far as the hype is concerned. And China really needs to support this film if it's going to go over $2 billion in this case. I know Star Wars: The Force Awakens didn't get a whole lot of help from the Chinese market, but still managed to garner over $2 billion. That's because it garnered almost a billion. I think it garnered $1 billion here in the United States alone. I think in this case, I don't think it's going to generate $1 billion here in the United States, but I really think if it's going to go over $2 billion, it has to get that worldwide. And I'm not sure it's going to be able to do it. I think it's going to come up just short, maybe about $1.7 billion, $1.8 billion, but I don't think it'll do any higher than that. So that leads me into now questions about in regards to the movie itself. Obviously, the question that everybody's throwing out there, I actually got asked on the Voice from the Underground podcast when I was on it earlier this weekend, who will be the most likely to perish among the Avengers as far as in this movie? I'm not talking about the one in next year. I'm talking about Avengers movie now with Infinity War.
I have a strong suspicion that Loki's going to die.
He's
You know,
not
and
an Avenger. That's an out, man.
but he might as well be. I mean, he's been in pretty much all of them except Age of Ultron, and he even got name dropped more times than I can count in that movie. So
I know we talked about as well in that show that Heimdall is also someone who is highly speculated to bite the dust as well. But any other big name actor that has basically not a main role in the Avengers is also heavily rumored, and that includes Tom Hiddleston as Loki. Like I said, Heimdall with Idris Elba playing that role, and then there's a few others that are could be involved as well. Glenn Close, John C. Riley, a lot of other names like that as well has been thrown out. I want to ask, of the Avengers that we know, who might be the biggest option or the one that's you would say, you come here to Vegas, man. Who are you going to lay the money on as far as biting the dust first in Infinity War?
I want to say, oh, dude, I hate this question so much.
But that's why I asked.
um, I don't know. Like I look at the press and I see who's been getting talked about in and who's been spotted on the set of what movie. Captain America was originally, he said he wasn't going to come back for the fourth film, but it just made sense. But there's been no mention of Iron Man being in the fourth film, so I know it's got to be one of them two. Uh, I don't think that I Captain America. I'm sorry, man. This is so tough, man. Um, Captain America, if he, I guess in a way it would make sense for him to go out because he's kind of they have this big moment where he's coming back. Because the death of Captain America could definitely unite the team, be that factor that pushes the team. But I, w- I think that it's possible both of them could die. And that's a big call for me. So, if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Captain America is gonna die.
I'm going to disagree with you on that because he has said in an interview that he's already filmed some scenes already. His final scenes. He's already filmed his final scenes for Avengers 4. So,
Do you think they're gonna do the time thing though? Because I mean, it's possible that nobody's going to stay dead. They're gonna have do the travel back in time thing and do whatever the time stone.
well, that leads me to the question because he said he wants to get out while he's still relatively a young individual. He's in his mid 30s. He could realistically play the role for another 15 years or even more if you want to have him as an older patriarch figure, as an older Steve Rogers type character. I think it's just the fact that he doesn't want the superhero films to wear on him. Maybe he's tired of it already. Maybe he doesn't want the workout regimen because it obviously requires a lot right now. So he could be somebody that could be, like you said, knocked off already, and you could do a time trip scenario in the next movie after that. Now, if it does include time trip whatnot, that could be an issue because the Chinese marketplace doesn't allow for that. They'll have to edit it out or do something to it as far as, or not even show it at all, which
You
would
don't
be,
believe in time?
I believe it is ghosts and time travel. I believe are the two things that are no in the Chinese film culture.
Wow,
I
really?
believe that. I believe that. Let me check. Hold
That's
on.
crazy. I mean, no, not that I don't believe you. That's just it's crazy. There's because I mean, I guess they wouldn't be allowed to have the Flash over there, or yeah, wow, good for not good for them, but yeah,
Yeah, China bans time travel. Yes.
So no, they obviously didn't get Back to the Future over there then.
No. So,
I wonder why. Is that like a slide against communism or something? I don't
oh,
know.
they say it disrespects history.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess.
So it is, like I said, it is something that if they did a time jump type deal, then it would be something that could not be played or it'd have to be edited out in some form or fashion for the Chinese marketplace. Because as the number two marketplace in the world and number one, depending on the movie, you would have to look at it in that fashion. And do you really want to just sign off on something like that where it won't be allowed in a certain marketplace, or you have to really just change things around. So that's something to think about right there. I think Captain America is going to live through this one, but I think unfortunately he will not live through Avengers 4, and I will be devastated when that happens. I think a tear will come to my eye because Cap is my favorite. Cap is my favorite in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. I just think Chris Evans has just done a wonderful job with that character. The confliction, the pain, the anguish that you see continuously that he emotes time in and time again, as far as the new situations that brought up being in a different time than what he's used to being. Then obviously dealing with Bucky and that whole things, and then obviously what happened now, his the issues with Civil War, what happened there, and all that. So yeah, I think he meets an end in Avengers 4, but not in this one. I do think it's Iron Man. I think if I had to put money on it, I think Iron Man would be the number one choice. I also thought the Vision could be number two because it's shown the Infinity Stone almost being sucked out of his head already at some point, and I have a strong feeling Thanos is going to have an opportunity to have all those stones on his gauntlet. So, but I would make Iron Man a strong number one as far as money odds because he costs a lot anyways, and obviously his price per movie is very high. Number two, I think, would be Vision, and number three, I think you know what? I don't think they would do it to War Machine because I think they got to give Don Cheadle a break because they already made him paralyzed and having to use some type of prosthetic. So I think that would be real. That wouldn't be very cool at all. I think probably number three, I would probably put. Wow, that's a good question. See, after that, you get into semantics and whatnot. Maybe someone from the Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know, maybe one of them. Probably as a stretch, but I know there's a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 coming out. But maybe one of the members could die and go from there. But I think Iron Man would be my number one choice. So
It's weird to I mean, yeah, I can see that happening. Iron Man would be another person that could probably rally the team together, you know, in that old third act push there. But you know, it's weird because to think that either of those people could die when they could just like find a way to retire them and then bring them back if Marvel ticket sales ever get too low, you know. I don't know. It's just to me like you know, you look at the comic books, Captain America has died I think twice and like his mantle just keeps getting passed on to different people. Iron Man, like this is the first time in comic books was I think last year when he passed the mantle on, but it would make sense too because they're that kid from Iron Man 3 is coming back for this movie. So maybe he's passing the mantle on to him, who knows? Like that would be cool. I mean, if they're I mean, yeah, it's one thing to take out the person playing the hero, but leave the possibility for the hero's name to stay, you know?
that's a very good summation, and I think I agree with you on that. That could be a possibility, a strong one at that as well. So I guess the final question I have for you, as far as what we're speculating on, and again, we're speculating on Avengers: Infinity War. It hits theaters this weekend. Cannot wait to see it. I know Josh and I have our tickets already. By the end of the film, does Thanos have all the stones, including the Mind Stone, which we have not seen as of yet? does he have all the stones on his gauntlet at the end of the film?
I think so, because I think something detrimental happens at the end of the film. The Russo brothers have said that Infinity War is a complete experience. But you look at the two movies coming out after Infinity War, Ant-Man and Wasp, and what's her name, Captain Marvel, and both of those movies are. I'm assuming that they're gonna. We know Captain Marvel takes place in the '90s. Ant-Man and Wasp, I'm assuming, takes place after the events of Civil War, because Paul Rudd's character is, he's under house arrest or whatever. So I think that something detrimental happens at the end of Infinity War, and we're not going to see what happens next on the right timeline until Avengers Part 2. So I think he does, and they're going to end with him like having all the things on his hand, or something bad's going to happen. The movie's just there's going to be some ominous laughing or whatever, and the movie's just going to go cut, and then we're going to see Captain Marvel. The next one's going to open up with Captain Marvel doing something.
Or, like you said, when Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out, that's going to actually be detailing what happened, because it will take place right after Captain America Civil War, in your estimation, correct?
Yeah, I think that's both of these movies are backwards.
They're set in the past, so
Yeah.
to speak. Well, that's definitely some great thoughts as well. I think I agree with you on that, because if you put Ant-Man and the Wasp in the real time frame that it is right now, that could be detrimental for people wanting to see Avengers Part 4. So I agree with you on that. And making those two a kind of separate entities in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, taking place way back, or in the case of Ant-Man, not too far back, but back far enough that it won't adversely affect what's coming up in Avengers Part 4. I think that's definitely a great thing that you say, so that you speculate, indeed, and definitely think that could be a possibility as well. So we'll have to wait and see, my friend, but it comes out. Oh, I can't wait to say this. It comes out this week, Avengers Infinity War. We are definitely excited for it, and I cannot wait to hear your reactions, and also read your reactions as well on online, social media, and whatever you want to do is, and whatever you sent in to us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, because you can share your thoughts with us at Pop Culture Cosmos on Twitter, also as well Humanity Media Game Source on Facebook as well. Plus, you can email us popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Coming up next, Josh and I are going to close out the show with some more Marvel, because we're going to be talking Black Panther, not only the success and how we see the success of Black Panther, but also as well the future that holds for the Black Panther character himself in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We'll talk about that when we come back. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. And we're back once again to close out the show. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. We truly thank you for sticking around and enjoying the program. Want to thank Rob McCallum from Rob McCallum Films for hanging out with us one more time in the Cosmic Crossfire. You got to check out his Kickstarter project, which starts up on the 24th of April. When you get a chance, check it out. We're also going to be doing a live feed on the 24th. We'll let you know we'll let you know the parameters of it on our Pop Culture Cosmos Facebook page, so stay tuned for that as well. And also as well, you got the great shows that Josh is putting out there with Humanity Media, so check that out on the various formats that he's on. Josh, we are closing out our look ahead at Marvel's Avengers Infinity War and breaking down the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're finally here, my friend. The latest and last one in the line, until later this week, of course, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that is Black Panther. And I tell you what, this was a hit that exceeded everyone's expectations. I know we had talked about previously what we thought it was going to do, what we think it could do. I know the numbers were thrown about 600, 700. I even threw out $800 million as a ceiling, so to speak. And not only did it go beyond that, but it went actually above a billion, $1,300,000,000 at this point, above that mark worldwide. It has been a tremendous smash success. It has changed the face of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the way people view and understand not only major motion pictures, but also superhero films as well. I'm so happy that it has. I'm so happy it changed a lot of minds, and I'm so happy that it's actually entertained so many people out there on such a worldwide basis. What are your final thoughts on Black Panther now that you can reflect back on the success of the movie that just came out just a couple short months ago?
It was good. I mean, I don't. We've. I feel like I've like beaten this topic to death. Not just in general talking with people, but yeah, it was good. It wasn't like I didn't go into it for the social theme, so that wasn't important to me. I just wanted to make sure that it was a well told story and the character was well rounded and he got the justice he deserved. I mean, not for his dad, but like just the attention to detail that he deserved, and they did. There was a successful movie in all those aspects. So I was happy about it, and it did a good job of kind of standing on its own. Didn't need everyone was hoping to tie it into Infinity War, and obviously they had the Winter Soldier scene, but other than that, like it did a good job of existing on its own, and it showing us that side of the Marvel universe we that we'd yet to see. We're not seeing New York, we're not seeing Malibu or whatever. We're seeing a whole new country, and we're seeing things that go on there. We're seeing a world that we read about in the comic books or saw in the cartoons, and we were seeing it brought to life, and it was actually it was cool. It was very well done, and we got our tragic villain, and we got it's building up towards something better, and that's it was a good movie. It's just it kept going up. We didn't It was confined, and it still kept your attention all the way through.
It did so in spades. It did so indeed. It did a tremendous job of telling its own self contained narrative, but still obviously leads questions into Infinity War, whether or not the Mind Stone is there, also the status of Winter Soldier and where he is at as far as in his recovery, in his readiness for Infinity War. Obviously, that's been let out of the bag already with the trailers that we've seen so far for Infinity War. But it was a great experience. It's one of the best Marvel movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you want to read my thoughts on it as a whole, you can actually check it out as far as where it places on my list at popculturecosmos.wordpress.com. And then also you can check out everything there. And when you do so, you'll actually see where it falls, and it falls pretty high up on the list as being one of the best in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I think that's a testament to Ryan Coogler, who did announce. Is it Ryan Coogler? Yeah. T- Testament to Ryan Coogler on such an outstanding narrative that he did create. I like the scenes near the beginning where it created almost like a Bond like scenario. I know some people were kind of turned off by that, but I think as a whole, not only the inner scenes in Wakanda itself and the political struggle that was there, but also the scenes of lightheartedness with, obviously Letitia Wright's character, and also Lupito Nyong'o, and obviously everybody's raved around about uh, and obviously everybody's raved about Denai Guria, and her character in the obviously leading her. I blew it. obviously, Black Panther has done a great job of doing so well in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, of trying to lay the foundation for actually this Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward. It's done such a great job of setting Wakanda up as a major piece and foundation of that. So I ask you, Josh, when you do so, and when you think of Black Panther setting up that Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward, because I know both you and I do not see Black Panther getting killed in either of the next two Avengers films, because we think a Black Panther 2 is on the way. But also, do you think he becomes a larger part of the universe himself? He obviously kind of hinted to that at one of the closing scenes as well, the after credit scenes, about his place in the Avengers, becoming a leader and also becoming someone that it could take the place of Iron Man and Captain America going forward. That to me, that could easily happen.
It's kind of a bag of cats right there, because if you put him into the Avengers and kind of make him like a world police, I guess that kind of goes against everything that he stood up for in Black Panther as far as like Wakanda's concerned. Obviously, they're finally getting involved with the foreign affairs and whatnot, but like I think it's going to be a while before we see him like actually on an Avengers team. Will he like do like a call up or something? Yeah, I'm sure. If they need him, or like if he happens to be in the same area as one of the other heroes, I'm sure we'll see something like that. But it's weird. They'd have to do some good script writing for it to make sense for him to actually be an Avenger in in one of the upcoming films. But I would like to see it. That would be cool. Or maybe like see more of the Wakandan culture integrating into kind of the regular dealings of the non-Wakandan heroes.
Well, I'll say it before. I've said it before. Well, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The performances were just tremendous all the way around. It had a great supporting cast. I know Letitia Wright, playing Chadwick Boseman's sister in the film, she did an outstanding job as far as her comedic timing, and I know a lot of people really like her character going forward as becoming a major part of this Marvel Cinematic Universe, even outside of a Black Panther 2. I definitely see her becoming that Q that is able to the Q, like like Bond's Q, that can make a situation a lot better with the gadgets and the things that she can create that will help the Avengers out as far as being able to go ahead and defend the universe, with all the stuff that she creates. I know Lupita Nyong'o as Nakia, she did a great job as well, obviously playing off of Chadwick Boseman's character and providing a strong female interest as far as being a possible leader of the Wakandan community, and also someone to be reckoned with maybe down the line as well with the Avengers. And of course, Danai Gurira as Okoye, the head of the Dora Milaje. I'll tell you what, she just stole many scenes. Obviously, early on when she was wearing the wig, and she used that as almost like a weapon. And then, of course, when she with her skill, although her on The Walking Dead, take that machete, there you go. She adds that in there. She'd really be set. But she was tremendous, and obviously she's already gotten a lot of great feedback as well from the Avengers Infinity War scene, where they've already shown that she's obviously, to me, already has the best line in the movie already. So definitely a lot is going there with the great supporting cast, including Forrest Whitaker, also as well Angela Bassett, and just basically a great supporting cast made this film as well, just as much as Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan did such a tremendous job as the lead characters, both from a good guy and a bad guy standpoint. It just was a great film overall. You had a nice enveloping story that was self-contained, but yet still leads into the Marvel Cinematic Universe as far as Infinity War and beyond, also creating a lot of connections there. Like I said, it was a home run on all extents. a home run from all like from every extent. And I think that Ryan Coogler has to be commended for it on the tremendous job that he created with Black Panther. And I think Black Panther is going to be a foundation for the Avengers going forward. I know I was talking about how Doctor Strange and Miss Marvel would be. I think you cannot count out Black Panther as far as being a major part of the Avengers going forward. And if that's the case, do you think a Doctor Strange, Miss Marvel, Black Panther leading the Avengers into the next Marvel phase will be a successful sign for the movies to come? Or do you think that that's a great sign? Or do you think people will not maybe just relate it enough as because they're so used to seeing Iron Man and the Avenger and Captain America and all that? But do you see those three being the foundation for the Avengers in the years to come? And do you see that as a possibility of being just as strong going forward?
Well, I'm sorry. Can you hear that helicopter?
Oh no.
Okay. Um, Doctor Strange, yes. The other two, Captain Marvel, y- yes. I guess. Black Panther, no. I mean, I see him teaming up in Avengers movies, but I don't see him necessarily leading the team because he's got his own stuff to worry about over in Wakanda. You know, we can't forget that he's a king and he can't be hanging out in Avengers. The Avengers training ground all the time. But yeah, no, I see Doctor Strange leading because that's more in line with the comic books. But it's funny you mentioned the people are gonna be so used to the other heroes. I think we're definitely gonna see some drop off after Avengers Part 4. Whether people may or may not come back, but it'll be a slow trickle, and they'll have to. By the time the whatever fifth Avengers movie it is comes out, people will probably be back on board with it, I'm sure. But we'll see, man. I guess people need to see what comes next first before they start making any decisions. But yeah, we're gonna see some drop off after Avengers Part 4 for sure, I think.
I agree with you. There is going to be some superhero fatigue. James Cameron himself said
That
it
guy is
best.
so full of crap, man. Like honestly, I if it came from anybody else, I would totally agree with it. But James Cameron is like preaching to his own choir. He's like, yeah, we're gonna, talking about people being, having non-original ideas because everybody walked out of Avatar saying, yeah, I want to see four more of those movies. No, do something original, and then you can have, you'll be awarded the ability to poke fun of a movie that's made more money than most of your stuff combined. So yeah,
Well, it is kind of a close race because James Cameron has got a couple films at the top of the list.
he
Four
does, but
billion right there.
not
Four
as.
billion, man.
But take into account what the entire MCU has made compared to his fortune, and it dwarfs him.
Probably, but two films, $4 billion. That's all I say. I didn't say I liked them very much because I'm not exactly big fans of it. Avatar, I like Stephen Lang's performance a lot. I thought he was a great villain, but yeah, other than that, I was like,
Right. But I mean, regardless, when it comes to poking fun of somebody for originality, he has absolutely no room to talk about anything.
Well, that's an opinion for another day, and I think I share it with you on that. So, but I think there will be superhero fatigue at some point.
It's
I
it's
think
already
it will
happening.
probably pardon.
So I think it's already happening. DC people are giving Marvel, they're attached to Marvel, just to see how Avengers 3 and 4 play out, but DC is already stoked that fire, I think.
Don't get me started on DC, especially with their project of the week deal as far as that's concerned, and that they announce and then never come to fruition because what they have like 50 things in production now, and are any of them going to come out to life? Are any of them going to come to life outside of Wonder Woman 2? We don't even know. So it's kind of crazy at this point in the DC movie universe. But the Marvel Cinematic Universe is still going strong, and a lot of it is due to Black Panther and its great success. What are your thoughts on Black Panther? Did you enjoy it? How many times have you gone to see it? Two, three, four times? Do you really think it's that special event that everybody thought so when it came out originally in February? Or do you think it's something that was a little bit overhyped? Or do you think it's something that is going to be remaining special for some time to come, and that Black Panther will be a mainstay and a foundation of the Avengers going forward? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also, as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. So, Josh, any last thoughts on the way out?
I'm about to go finish some God of War, so I will get back to you with my thoughts on the rest of the game at a later date.
Okay, even more impressions from God of War. That's awesome indeed. And then also check out later this week on the PCC Multiverse. We'll be going more in detail on that little indie film that's coming out this week. Yes, it is Avengers Infinity War. We're going to go deep into detail on that and a whole lot more, but it is going to be a focus on that. We're going to be breaking down as only the pop culture cosmos can. But hey, Josh, I want to ask you a quick question. Do you think before we head on out, do you think that anybody is ever going to remember the movie that came out the same weekend in the US that Avengers Infinity War is? Or do you think it's going to be like in Trivial Pursuit? What movie came out at the time of Avengers Infinity War?
What movie is coming out?
Well, funny you should ask. For everybody who wants to answer that question, to go ahead around the office and throw that out there and nobody have an answer for you. It is Disobedience. It's in very limited release, but it starts the same day as Infinity War. And to those who actually are going to be responsible for putting that movie out and producing it and all I say to you is two words: good luck,
I feel
because you're
like,
going to need it.
do you think they kind of they were already planning on coming out on the 27th, and then Avengers got moved and they're like, "Oh crap, it's too late to do anything about this now, so we're just going to have to roll with the punches here."
Pretty much. Yep. And that's pretty much the way it went down, because you've got Rampage that moved up because of it. And you've got other movies like Deadpool that decided to move up because Avengers moved up and also wanted to move away from Solo. And like I said, it was like a chess game and a musical chairs game. And unfortunately, Disobedience is going to be the one that loses out. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.